All right, for this section, which is trauma and adulthood, I've taken it from a little different perspective. A lot of the counseling techniques that you have been provided or will be provided over the course of your training are geared more toward adults. We receive a lot of training, we receive a lot of experience with counseling adults, even if we specialize in working with children. So you have to take a couple of additional courses to learn how those special skill sets for working with children. But for adults, that seems to be the way that we train counselors. So what I did is the first thing that you're going to see is a YouTube video from a Dr. Bakari. And what I'm going to ask that you do, this video is an hour long. I'm not asking you to watch the full hour. The notes are right there on the screen, and it says, I'd like you to watch from the beginning to about minute 7:47. And you'll notice there's a natural break in what she's doing. So she's presenting to a class at it's a victimology class, I think, but she's presenting to a class, and the first about 8 minutes is a spoken word poem that she's doing about being the adult survivor of childhood trauma. And I want you to think about it this way. What we're talking about with this section, and your text alluded it as well, we're talking about adult survivors of trauma, which usually means that there's been trauma in childhood and adolescence as well. So this is trauma that you think about a lot, and people use the words wounds. So people who come to counseling with wounds that occurred in childhood and adolescence. So that wound may have, for the analogy, may have gotten infected and is just not healing. And so that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about someone who had a traumatic incident in adulthood. That definitely applies, but the information that I'm providing you talks about individuals who have traumatic experience throughout the course of their childhood and adolescence, and that is continuing on into their functioning as an adult. So her spoken word introduction is the thing that I want you to watch. You're more than welcome to watch it. The full thing is 60 minutes, but I'm pretty sure that she only speaks for about 20 or 30, and then the rest of it is questions. So if it interests you, if you watch what she has to say and you are enthralled, then I encourage you to watch the rest of the video. The other things that are going to be on that specific part is Towards Recovery. It's a Blue Knot Foundation fact sheet for people who've experienced childhood trauma, including abuse. It's going to be a handout that you can use, or a very quick reminder for you, and a nice summation of the text about the recovery process of that. There's also two links there to websites: the National Association for Adult Survivors of Child Abuse. Really encourage that you look at that. I just can't tell you enough. And the other is the International Society for Traumatic Stress Studies. The National Association for Adult Survivors of Child Abuse has some really good links to other resources on the web. As I was doing research for preparing this information for you, one of the websites that I found myself spending a lot more time on because of my own personal interest in it, and fortunately I did not have you read it so we could discuss it, went into male perceptions of their childhood sexual abuse. And so it was firsthand narratives about being sexually abused and the cultural stipulations put on men in sexual abuse, right there in linked from that page. So I do encourage you to look at that. Also in this section, the bottom three resources are going to be the National Committee for the Prevention of Elder Abuse, the National Institute on Aging, and the very last is linked to a full-text article, Treatment of PTSD in Older Adults. Do Cognitive Behavioral Interventions Remain Viable? So I had you read in the text the sections on elder abuse. I made some decisions as to not link any videos and not... let's just say that. I researched quite a few, and as I was experiencing them, as I was watching them, I found them to be rather traumatic and beyond the point of being helpful. You can Google elder abuse on YouTube, and you can see these hidden cameras. You can see just experiences that families have had. But I found that for the sake of an educational environment like this, they didn't provide us with any resolve as to, well, what do we continue to do? But if you are interested in that, if you either interested in working with this population in general, or find that you do not have a lot of experience or knowledge about how to work with a population of older adults, I encourage you to seek further information, and at minimum, read over the article that's linked there for you. It's right there for you. All you have to do is click on that. All right. If working with this population, whether it be adult survivors of trauma or elder or gerontology in terms of counseling, I encourage you to seek out further information. Don't let this be the end-all and be-all. Let this be the beginning of the journey for you. If you find any resources that you think the class would benefit from, please do not hesitate to let me know, and I'll make sure we have those. Because again, all of us is smarter than just one of us. So I hope that if you do come across anything that you believe to be worthwhile, that you let us know, and I will share that with the class. Okay? Until next time.